Hello, and welcome to Leadership as a Philosophy, Not a Checklist. This is sort of a side project or a bonus project, and this is going to be basically on all of the Army's leadership manuals. So, to give you a little background, I came in the Army in the 80s. One day I was throwing out a bunch of old manuals because I was told to, and there was the 1983 version of the Army Leadership Manual, and I read it as a brand new soldier in the Army and thought, boy, this stuff makes a lot of sense. How come nobody's doing it? I may have been a little sarcastic at the time, but over the rest of my time in the Army, I found out that a lot of people weren't doing it. I was talking to a person who's sort of my informal mentor on this project, and I say mentor because he's older than me, and he gives me little ask questions every so often. Hasn't told me anything to do. And I told him that story. He said, hey, have you thought about comparing your work to the leadership manuals? I said, oh, that's a great idea. Well, because I'm naive and stupid, I didn't know that basically the first Army leadership manual was 1948. Then there was one in 51, 1958, 65, 73, 83, 99, 2000, 2004, and then they just sort of keep updating the 2004 one. So what does that mean? I mean, I had to go read all of them. One question, all that work, but great question. So what I'm going to do is basically do a video on each one of the manuals, starting with the one in 1948, and then basically compare the hypothesis, which it's not my hypothesis. It's, as we've said by now, you've realized that it's the ancient wisdom about what leaders are against those manuals. Now, I'm not going, if they've got something that they've already covered that I thought was good, then we're going to not cover that again in the next review. And in a couple instances, they took something that was really good out. So, why should you care if it's an Army leadership manual? Well, leadership is leadership is leadership. There isn't a difference. I've seen and had people ask questions. Well, what about leading this? No, it's the same. The principles are the same. The outcomes are different. The consequences might be a little bit more significant because you might be leading somebody to their death. But you're still, all the time, a leader is attuning competence and environmental hierarchies in pursuit of a goal. The goal might be different. The hierarchy, the competence hierarchies are going to be different, and the environment's going to be different, but you still have to attune all those to accomplish the goal. So you can still read these and just take out men and soldier and commander and unit and replace that with organization, employees, and boss. Some of these, like I said, were written in 50, 70 years ago. And so sometimes they're a little rough around the edges, although one of them I thought was hilarious. It says, not hilarious, it was very insightful because it says, the principles of leadership apply to both male and men and women. It was a great line, but then they proceed to have a couple of chapters talking about women. Anyway, I apologize for the intro being a little bit different than normal. My ad hoc studio, it's super windy outside and I don't have good sound insulation in there, and so tried to do this out there and it was howling. This is now my fourth attempt at this project. I've recorded and deleted a whole bunch of videos, and I think that I have the format to where it makes the most sense, so we'll see. And this video itself is going to be separate. I'm going to make a separate playlist on the YouTube channel just for this project. So this little announcement is sort of a teaser. I've already got the first chapter done. So I'm going to post this, and then in a couple days I'll post the other one so you can understand what's going on with it. Anyway, I found it very useful. I found it very informative. And then I also found it, well, I found it kind of sad. Because if you start taking what we talk about in all of these and then comparing it to any organization as well as the military, there are some significant gaps. So I think that, in some cases the Army had the right paperwork, or documents, but they weren't teaching anybody, or they weren't having integrity, following through. So we had all these disasters because we weren't doing the right thing. So that's why I think it'll be useful. Some of these have some really nice little questionnaires that'll allow you to be able to look at your boss, look at your subordinates, look at yourself and say, am I doing this right or not? And then also, maybe I'm not the right person to be in charge of people. It's okay. We need people to not be in charge of people. Because if everybody can be in charge, then nobody's following. Or nobody's doing the actual work. Anyway, like I said, this is just a short intro. And if you are interested in this, and I find it interesting because the principles are the same. So please have that faith. But you'll be able to go through and start tearing them apart or not tear them apart, but you can apply that stuff to whatever organization you're working in, right? All right, so that's enough for the intro, and the first chapter or the first video is going to be for FM 22-1, which was written in 1948. So I hope you enjoy. Thank you very much.